The Score.
Crime wave in Gotham. Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
Coming up, more problems for a troubled
earthquake.
skater. Yep,
We're having an earthquake.
Breaking into homes and tickling people.
Fans quickly trashed his pantsless look on social media.
Also, in other news,
the whistles go woo!
He was murdered and then set on fire while celebrating his birthday.
He's on the lean and the model.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
He thought the car was a spaceship and that the driver was an alien.
He lost his life savings, $2,600, and all he has to show for it is this stuffed banana with dreadlocks.
And all we have to show for it is this segment in other news right here on the Bernstein and Goff Show, 670 The Score, 670thescore.com, and watch 670thescore.com. For all of you texting and now tweeting me, no, I don't hate all straight white men. Like people are, do you hate, like some people are joking, some people, I don't know if you're serious. No, I do not hate all straight white men.
I'm willing to consider the possibility.
No, I can't.
I can't say that as a straight white person.
Yes, I've got to meet some admissions people at colleges. My son, before I know it, is going to be 17 years old. I cannot.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
So
can't do that.
It is August 22nd, and that means, were she alive today, happy 124th birthday to the great Dorothy Parker. If you don't know Dorothy Parker, you should. I'm sure you know some of her better-known quotes. Okay. But she was an O. Henry Award-winning poet, author, critic, turned Oscar-nominated Hollywood screenwriter, satirist, and modernist who was one of the greats, one of the most important critics, not just because she was a woman in the sharp-elbowed and sharp-tongued world of men and the Algonquin Round Table and all of that, but for a lot of reasons, for overcoming a tough childhood, becoming nearly entirely self-made, and writing so many memorable things. She was the one who said...
Star is Born.
She's the one who said, I hate writing, I love having written. It's one of my favorite quotes. Some others here. She says, if you have any young friends who aspire to become writers, the second greatest favor you can do them is present them with copies of the Elements of Style. The first greatest, of course, is to shoot them now while they're happy. And one of her better-known poems, I like to have a martini, 2 at the very most. After 3, I'm under the table. After 4, I'm under my host. And what I learned about her later on, about just this amazing 73-year life that she lived, she became a crusader for civil rights.
Okay.
Started out just a writer and wit and satirist, but civil rights became very important to her. And when she died in 1967, and her will was read, it turned out she bequeathed her entire fortune, her entire estate, to Dr. Martin Luther King.
Oh, wow.
Every dollar. And after King died, per her will, her estate was then passed on to the NAACP. And she's been honored posthumously by that group and others, but every August 22nd, do a little research on Dorothy Parker. Just there's so much there and so many people that she's influenced that became important people for all the right reasons.
All right, we've been seeing these. I don't know if you follow House of Highlights or any of these, these highlight meme putting together or GIF putting together services and Instagram accounts, but we've been seeing these pickup games that are happening this summer with a lot of NBA players. And, of course, it happened here in Chicago all the time at Attack and some other places, the Lakeshore Athletic Club. There's a lot of places where games are put together. But this summer, one court was taken by storm by 3 of the best in the game. And this is from Bleacher Report's magazine. Yaron Weitzman writes, the first rule of scoring an invite to participate in the world's greatest pickup basketball game, Fight Club fans will be proud. You've got to keep it a secret beforehand. You don't want everybody to find out and come to the building to watch. That's what Oklahoma City big man Enes Kanter told Bleacher Report. This was about what happened a week and a half ago. Kanter's offseason games are often first-rate. He trains at Lifetime Athletic at Sky, an upscale Manhattan gym where former New York Knicks staffer Chris Brickley works with Carmelo Anthony and dozens of other pros. And so as Kanter picked up his phone last week to check his latest text from Brickley, he expected to see the same names flash across his screen. Then he opened Brickley's message. LeBron James and Kevin Durant would be joining them, it read. Giddy Cantor punched in a response. Quote, I told Chris, just make sure you put me on LeBron's team. A few days earlier, James had posted a message for his Twitter followers. Said, man, I need some run. Where y'all hooping at? Offseason, please hurry up and in. I've got Basketball Jones.
Cantor's had his own issues, right? He's been fighting with Turkish authorities, like jailed his dad.
His father, has actually threatened his family with murder. Like threatened to kill his family because of the political leanings.
And he's been super defiant about it, too.
Yes, he has. Anthony, it seems, had an answer for his longtime friend, New York City. On Tuesday morning, James boarded his private jet in Miami and flew north where he met Kevin Durant and Carmelo Anthony and a handful of other NBA players like Cantor, J.R. Smith, Lance Thomas, Marshall Plumlee, Dante Jones, Smith's younger brother, Chris, Real Madrid's Dante Draper, and University of Kentucky basketball players Amadou Diallo and Nick Richards were brought in to help fill out the squads. Quote, it was like an all-star game, Cantor says, and in terms of personnel, this is one of the greatest pickup games of all time. Now, there's video inset into this article, and all the video is ridiculously astonishing to see them cover the ground that they've covered on a pickup court. Lifetime Athletics regular members have grown accustomed to seeing Anthony and other NBA players honing their jumpers alongside Chris Brickley. On this Tuesday morning, the gym's management was told that, quote, a big star was coming in and the club's regulars were trying to guess who it could be. Then a little before 11 a.m., James and his crew strolled through the building's 42nd Street entrance and made their way to the gym's lower level court. Black shades were plastered to the glass windows to prevent the usual peering eyes and phones. You know what's up.
Yeah.
Quote, it's the kind of game you want to be a fly on the wall for, Chris Smith told Bleacher Report. Brickley
it's like Rocky and Apollo, right?
Right, just sparring it out. Brickley divided teams beforehand. LeBron, J.R. Smith, Thomas, Cantor, and Jones were on one side. Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, Marshall Plumlee, and two Kentucky players on the other. Those, quote, lowest on the totem pole sat after the losses, said Chris Smith. They played for nearly 2 hours. The games were to 11 by 1s and 2s, and the first team with 5 wins was the victor. Players called their own fouls, according to Chris Smith, who adds that Dante Jones was guilty of doing so much more than the rest of the people out there in terms of fouling. Smith laughs as he recalls the games, but gets serious when he talks about playing with James. He said, being on his team, you're just like, wow, he can do everything and anything, and even there, he's so competitive and he wants to win every game. He said Carmelo's mid-post hesitation jump shot fading away toward the baseline is unstoppable.
You think?
And KD just needs 2 steps to get to the rim from half court.
Good scouting, man, that guy.
Chris Smith, ladies and gentlemen.
Outstanding scouting there.
Yes, former New York Knick Chris Smith. I have been around some pretty damn good pickup games with older NBA players where you see guys pulling up from 30, 35 because they don't want the hustle and bustle of playing in the paint. Yeah, man. I've seen Steve Smith and guys of his ilk lace them up for a quick run where guys are pretty much playing midfield soccer, where after the rebound you kick it out and at 30 feet somebody's pulling up. That game and the video, they actually got video of it. It's kind of like when the Dream Team put out that video in that piece that I believe HBO or TNT did a few years back, and you saw their pickup games where Mike was going at Magic, and Karl Malone was going at Charles, and Pat Ewing was going at David Robinson. Those things, but on a pickup game level. And who would you think is the greatest pickup game player of all time, according to Enes Kanter?
The greatest pickup game player of all time?
That he's ever seen, including James, Anthony, and Durant.
I can't even hazard a guess.
I've never seen anybody better at pickup basketball than J.R. Smith. Okay. In a 5-on-5 game in the summertime, I'll take J.R. Smith over anybody. He just plays with so much confidence. He hits these crazy shots, step backs, drives, hook shots, where everybody just looks at each other and goes, did he just make that? Yeah, so fun stuff put out there by Bleacher Report, and these videos are all over if you haven't seen them. And by the way, Hoodie Melo is a thing where Melo has been playing with a hood this entire summer, and people are like, yo, screw regular Melo. I want Hoodie Melo because Hoodie Melo looks like a Terminator out there playing against guys.
He's going to be an NBA 2K character for sure.
He's a locked character on the new 2K18, Hoodie Melo. Yeah.
Only 10 MLB teams have allowed a starting pitcher to exceed 120 pitches this season. Think about that. Only 10 teams have allowed a pitcher to exceed 120.
Okay.
This according to Fangraphs.
Okay.
Only 2 teams have allowed it to occur on multiple occasions. 1 team has let that happen 4 times. Can you name that team?
Right, give it to me
and
again.
by that, I mean you should be able to name that team.
Not the Reds.
No.
This isn't a Dusty thing, right? Oh, the Nationals. Damn it.
You got it. Yes.
Oh, man.
Dusty Baker
Burns is on Dusty again.
Is lapping the field, and here's why. This is
toughening up.
Gio Gonzalez went into the 7th inning on Sunday, 120 pitches. That pitch is ripped into right field by Manuel Margot for a single. Last pitch of the outing.
Okay.
20 years ago, this would not have been a noteworthy event. Sequence would seem rather innocuous. We live in an age marked by an unprecedented number of pitching injuries. Teams, players more often turning to science to better understand performance and injury prevention. So Baker's Nationals have had 4 starts of 120-plus. The Padres, the only other team with 2. Then the Red Sox, Indians, Rockies, Tigers, Diamondbacks, Cardinals, Rangers, and Rays each have 1. Everybody else with 0. The Nationals under Baker rank second in average pitch count for start of 100.5. One of only 2 teams averaging more than 100. Second in number of 100-plus pitch outings, trailing only the Red Sox in each category. But the thing is, it's over. Look where they are. Look where they are in the standings.
Why are you still redlining?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're showing Scherzer and Tanner Roark.
Scherzer is...
They've got a 14-game lead. They've got 100% odds of reaching the postseason.
Now, I'm not defending Dusty here. I'm asking you a baseball question.
Don't inoculate like Chuck.
No, I'm
now.
not. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. I will never. # don't be Chuck.
Right. Yeah.
Does his bullpen have anything to do with it?
Even so,
I'm asking. I'm asking.
He knows his bullpen sucks, but they made a bunch of moves to get it better.
Right.
The answer is maybe, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
These are your starters.
You can't treat these
You're
guys
trying
like
to win
that.
the World Series.
Yes, you can't treat these guys like that, especially Max Scherzer. Like, that's your big money pitcher.
What are you doing?
He's going to win another Cy Young.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah. All right. We talked about this guy a few days ago where we just brought him up in conversation. Deadspin put it out there, too. Anquan Boldin's retirement made me remember that time he had his face broken by a hit.
Oh, yeah, his sinuses broken, right?
Yes.
His actual sinus cavities were fractured.
It was when he was with the Arizona Cardinals and the New York Jets were wearing those god-awful throwback uniforms. Well, Anquan Boldin is retiring, and he is going on to do community work. He is going to step back into the communities that we have talked about and try to change some things for the better. And in the Hall of Very Good, I am not putting him in the Hall of Fame, but he is one of those perfect names that was right there on the cusp, had a couple of Pro Bowls. You always, when you watch those games, like, oh, yeah, Anquan Boldin's going to get 8 catches
big
for
catch in a big game,
yeah.
even as an old guy.
No doubt. With the Ravens, with the Cardinals, with the 49ers there for a little bit. One of the all-time tough guys at that position. And I think we forget, more famously so, put in the worst position maybe in college football history. Do you remember the national championship game that Anquan Boldin had to play quarterback for Florida State? If I'm not mistaken, if it wasn't a national championship, it was a big bowl game where their starting quarterback got hurt. And Anquan Boldin had to play quarterback on a big stage and he was all right. He was a high school quarterback, so he had skills before that, but not in the Hall of Fame, but in the Hall of Very Good and in the Hall of Tough Guys of all time in my watching of football. Anquan Boldin right there, a guy that we mentioned last week. 7 plates and 40 screws in that fractured sinus membrane to fix, and he played, I believe, 2 weeks after that. And I believe he wasn't checked for a concussion at the time as well. So, Anquan, hope everything's good. Hope you don't have to be in dark rooms for the rest of your life and eating pudding because everything hurts. Hope you're okay. Probably not because of how often you went over the middle. But Anquan Boldin retires. It's funny because we just brought him up in conversation a couple of days ago.
That's in other news.